Right now at noon, details on a fatal crash on the Missouri-Kansas state line. Right now at noon, details on a fatal crash, and there's Chris.
I am here. It's hot. It's muggy. That's all right. The firefighters getting some training.
Yes, plus first responders in Girard, Kansas learned safe ways of dealing with an ammonia-based emergency.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, this is KOAM News at noon. I'm Elise Snowy. A pickup truck driver dies in a head-on collision with a tractor trailer at the Missouri-Kansas state line last night. The crash happened at around 9:45 at the Mound on State Line Road. The pickup was traveling north and turning west onto Northeast Old Highway 96 when the driver failed to yield to an eastbound semi hauling feed corn. The crash occurred in Kansas, but both vehicles came to rest in Missouri. The semi driver was not injured. Emergency crews from both states responded to the scene. Carl Junction Fire assisted Kansas Highway Patrol with the traffic control. The semi went off the left side of the highway and struck a group of trees. Kansas Highway Patrol continues to investigate the crash. Well, first responders held an emergency response training session yesterday at the Girard Fire Department. Members of the fire department, along with the Crawford County Emergency Management Agency, trained first responders in how to deal with ammonia-based emergencies. Ammonia can be dangerous in many ways, ranging from irritation and burns to breathing problems and even some long-term impacts. Responders learn ways to safely deal with ammonia in gas and liquid forms.
So it's something that is produced in factories, moves across our roads, and is used in our local communities. So we want responders to be familiar with it so that when an incident occurs, they're comfortable, they're familiar with the chemical, they're comfortable with some of its chemical physical properties, and it'll help them respond more efficiently, effectively, and safely.
The course covered a mix of lectures, skill stations, case studies, tabletop scenarios, and hands-on training. Let's head over now to Chris with first weather.
Yeah, after a few isolated showers and storms this morning, we've got some of the lingering clouds, and what we have plenty of is lingering heat and humidity as we continue to deal with, again, the potential for dangerous heat. Live look downtown Pittsburgh, still a bit hazy out there, but we do have some clouds, and it's a bit breezy as well. MoDOT camera 20th and range line looking good, shaking a little bit in that wind out there. Started yesterday at 71, so pretty close to normal, and not that far off normal for our highs, but certainly warmer. But we're already beginning to warm across the area this afternoon. We've got upper 80s and low 90s across the region, and then you factor in the humidity and dew point, it gets a little uncomfortable now. We've got Iola, feels like 98. We've got low mid 90s and upper 90s in those heat index values, and they're still on their way to reaching about 105. We're going to be back in the low 90s by 7. Upper 80s by 8, falling back into the low 80s still at 11 o'clock tonight. Just a few clouds here and there. Temperatures above average overnight, and then the dangerous heat continues as we start flirting with the triple digits over the next couple of days. We'll talk about that and, of course, have a look at our weekend rain chances here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, the beat and the heat goes on. Area high school bands are preparing to kick off a brand new school year. Practice for the Carthage High School band starts in the early morning before the heat of the day as the band members work to start the semester on a high note.
7 a.m. If it's a class day, then we'll be 7 a.m. to 9:30. But if it's a non-class day, it's just about 40 minutes, so in the morning.
But one of my main goals is that everybody leave the year having at least one good memory that they will look back on.
Sager says the school does take students' health extremely seriously during this hot weather, and she says a local fire truck soaks them with water just to help keep those temps down. We'll need help finding and applying for some scholarships. The Quapaw Nation Higher Education Department held a scholarship workshop last night at the community building from 6:30 to 7:30. Participants learned how to search and apply for scholarships both in person and virtually through Teams. The event was free and open to everyone, but registration was required ahead of time. Now, if you missed last night's session, there's another one coming up August 20th at the same time and the same place. You can register online at quapawtribe.com. Well, during the summer, it may feel like lawn care may be never ending, and that's also true for cemetery grounds crews. In Coffeyville, Kansas, teams are in charge of the upkeep of more than 20,000 graves at the city's 3 cemeteries. One cemetery can take a fully staffed crew up to a week and a half to complete. Now, this includes mowing, weed eating, and clearing headstones of grass and dirt. And before they finish one, another cemetery will already have grass and weeds that need addressed.
It is our greatest honor to always keep up, to adapt and overcome no matter what. And I can guarantee you that these crews will always be working out here for the greater good of this community and its loved ones.
You can visit KOAMNewsNow.com on what small things you can do to help efforts to keep cemeteries tidy. Well, they are slithery, scaly, and sometimes a scary sign that summer is coming to an end and fall is just around the corner. Garrett Hamilton tells us why some people are seeing more copperheads this time of year.
This is a model of the most venomous snake in the Ozarks. This is a copperhead snake. But as the season changes from summer to fall, you'll start to see more of the young ones emerging.
Mating season for copperheads runs mid-spring through mid-summer, and right now is when most mothers are giving birth. Yes, copperheads give live birth, which is why you may be seeing more of them right now.
As long as you leave a snake alone, including copperheads, the venomous snakes, or other wildlife, they're going to leave you alone too.
And forget the myth that young copperheads are more dangerous than adults.
There is this ongoing urban legend that young copperheads are more venomous than adult copperheads. That is not true.
But that doesn't mean they are any less dangerous. Any copperhead bite can cause serious health issues. The best way to avoid a bite? Leave the snakes alone.
If you ever hear about somebody being bitten more than once by a copperhead, usually that means that person was trying to catch the copperhead. It strikes its victim, pumps it with venom, and then releases.
Skaliski says copperheads are not an aggressive snake. They also have very little to do with their young once they are born and will hide from humans as much as possible.
The reason that copperheads strike humans is that they feel threatened. But with humans, it's a self-defense mechanism.
And another common rumor about young copperheads, they like to hide underneath anything left out in your yard. Now that's partially true, but they prefer to hide under things like rocks and wood piles. So the best way to keep copperheads away from your house, make sure to clean your yard of any loose debris. Well, warmer temperatures and high humidity are both leading the spike of tick bites in the U.S. and across the 4 states. The number of people needing emergency care for tick bites has reached its highest level in 8 years. And data from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention reveals a continuing rise in reported cases of Lyme disease. Experts say warmer temperatures due to climate change and contributing to the issue. Well, coming up, a soldier is suspected of shooting 5 of his own at Fort Stewart in Georgia. Details on the investigation into an alleged motive. And later, we're making cookie peach cobbler in the Mr. Food test kitchen. Well, investigators are looking into how a U.S. Army sergeant was able to bring a personal weapon onto a military base in Georgia yesterday and use it on his fellow soldiers. 5 people were wounded in the shooting, 2 of whom remain hospitalized. Skylar Henry reports from Fort Stewart, Georgia.
They have an active shooter on Fort Stewart.
Cell phone video captured the moments soldiers rushed from their barracks after an Army sergeant opened fire Wednesday just before 11 a.m., injuring 5 soldiers.
We train for this on the battlefield, and it's a different situation when it happens on an installation with one of your own.
The incident occurred on the north side of Fort Stewart and prompted a lockdown of the base that lasted about an hour.
We're also advising 1 shooter is in custody.
The suspect, identified by Army officials, is 28-year-old Cornelius Radford, an active-duty logistics sergeant who was said to have used a personal handgun to carry out the shooting before his fellow soldiers tackled him.
It's how training that kicked in. Mine kicked in and you just go to work.
I saw the smoke at the end of the hallway and I noticed there was a soldier laying on the ground, so I immediately sprinted over to the soldier and started rendering aid.
All 5 soldiers are in stable condition and expected to recover.
1 soldier remains as an inpatient here at Wynn Army, right here on Fort Stewart. She's doing very well in high spirits. And we have one soldier that remains at Savannah Memorial Community Hospital, who I visited with the secretary this morning. She's got a little bit longer road to recovery.
While the motive is still unknown, Army officials say Radford joined the Army more than 7 years ago, has never been deployed to combat, and has no known disciplinary issues, though he was arrested for a DUI back in May. President Trump addressed the shooting yesterday.
The Army Criminal Investigation Division is on site to ensure that the perpetrator of this atrocity, which is exactly what it is, will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
Radford is currently in pretrial confinement awaiting charges. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Fort Stewart, Georgia.
Well, President Trump is threatening to slap tariffs of approximately 100% on imported semiconductors in a push to boost domestic production. The president made the announcement during an event at the White House yesterday, unveiling Apple's commitment to invest $100 billion in U.S. manufacturing. And still to come on KOAM News at noon, Mr. Food.
Today we're talking about one of the season's best food buys, and I have a feeling you're not going to want to miss this.
That we've got to contend with over the next few days. Look at your forecast when we come back. Welcome back to the KOAM News at noon. So we had a few isolated storms this morning. Nothing too crazy out there. Unfortunately, the heat still crazy, and we're continuing to heat up. Quick look outside downtown Pittsburgh. Bit hazy, but there are some clouds. If you look toward the top of where it says Skywatch weather there, you can kind of make out a cloud from this perspective. We have on the future track, again, we had some of those showers about an hour or so ago. They actually, Future Track this morning said they might try and hang on through noon. They actually died out about half an hour, 45 minutes ago. Future Track thinks maybe some additional pop-up showers are possible in the next couple of hours along I-44. I'll be honest with you, that chance is extraordinarily low, but it's playing out the hopeful scenario. Maybe somebody else will get a little bit of rain today, but it's not very likely. As we go through the rest of today, it's otherwise risky to have mostly clear skies. We'll have mostly clear skies heading into our Friday. It's breezy today, tonight, into tomorrow, into Saturday. We'll have that south wind. Now, here's the thing on Friday. An isolated pop-up storm or two will be possible, and as you can see, there's not much. Saturday, same situation. Isolated pop-up storm or two possible, but the chances are still quite low. It's really not until we start getting into Sunday and Monday that our chances pick up a wee bit, but even then it's not a lot. And that's why Saturday, for example, still looking to be pretty hot. Our Sunday storm chances still fairly isolated, so still a bit toasty on Sunday, but we will eventually see some improvement. So our heat index values today, again, easily reaching 105. A little further out west where we do have some heat advisories in place, could be a little higher than 105. We go into Friday, and if you were with us this morning, well, honestly, it's actually taken them all up, but I'm telling you right now, I think Future Track is getting a little overzealous on these heat index values, but we're still looking at easily reaching 110 degrees across a good portion of the area tomorrow. I do not think we're going to be getting close to 115. I would be surprised if we did, but still, you got to take precautions regardless. By Saturday, still heat index values 105, maybe a little over that, and even into Sunday, it continues on just a little bit, but not as bad. We've got those heat advisories again that will run through Friday at 8 o'clock, Oklahoma and for Kansas. Tulsa's already gone ahead and put out that because I told you they do day by day, so this expires at 8 this evening, but they've gone ahead and added to this heat advisory that it will go back into effect tomorrow through 8, and of course, Wichita putting out that one through 8. And a reminder, excuse me, we have all of our extreme heat safety tips on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Just click on forecast, or you can check it in your app, and we'll have all those heat safety graphics out there. A lot of great information on them, and I think one of my favorite ones, because we can't break it down on air, it defines the differences between heat exhaustion and heat stroke, and when something's more serious and when it's not as serious. All right, mid-90s today. Our heat index value is up to 105. We'll have those gusty south winds, but sky's gradually clearing a bit. So just a few clouds overnight. Very mild, though. Upper 70s near 80 for our overnight lows. You saw our average lows like, 69, 70. So, yeah, and it's going to be breezy. South winds gusting to 20. South winds gusting at 25 tomorrow. A lot of us right about 100, maybe a degree or two higher than that. Heat index values, again, easily up to 110. Like I said, Sunday, our chances for pop-up storms or isolated storms. Remember on long-range future track, it's not rain all over this area, but it's where rain could be. Still fairly isolated through Sunday, but at least we have those chances. The chances, though, slightly better as we head into Monday, but again, only slightly better, but at least they are there, and that will eventually help with our temperatures as we head into next week. Briefly, though, see, we're still flirting with the triple digits on Saturday, mid-90s Sunday, back to normal Monday and Tuesday, but that is short-lived as we turn around and crank right back up, upper 90s, near 100, and a few additional pop-up storm chances next week as well.
All right, Chris, thanks. We'll stick around. We're making cookie peach cobbler in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. We'll be right back. Howard is making cookie peach cobbler in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Just walk through the produce section in any grocery store or your local farmer's market, and it's pretty obvious that we're in the height of peach season. Yeah, they're one of the best food buys this month. So let me show you how to easily turn them into a cobbler that is so good, your tongue will slap you on the back of the head asking for more. We start off by peeling and slicing about 7 to 8 peaches, depending how large they are. After you peel them, they're going to be slippery, so hang on to them. Once they're cut, we toss them with some melted butter, cinnamon, sugar, cornstarch, and spoon it all into a baking dish. Now we top this with some refrigerated slice and bake sugar cookie dough before baking it off. You'll know this is done when the whole house is filled with a heavenly aroma. My favorite way to serve this is right out of the oven when it's bubbling hot and the cookie topping sort of melts in your mouth. Maybe serve it with a little ice cream and you're good to go. I do hope you'll go online and get the recipe for our cookie peach cobbler so you'll have it while peaches are at their prime. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a peachy way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
Today's recipes on KOAMNewsNow.com. Now let's take a look at the 4-state market prices.
All right, continuing to stay hot out there, dangerous heat. Mid-90s today, triple digits, so really over the next couple of days, mid-90s Sunday. Isolated storm chances, back to normal Monday, Tuesday, and we still got to watch out for those heat index values approaching 110 as we head into the weekend.
Right, Chris, thanks. Now, what are your first later on today?
Well, a whole lot coming up at 5. I'll give you one. Too much screen time for kids isn't just bad for their eyes. New research shows it can also affect their heart health. We're going to have that story, a lot more, coming up on KOAM News at 5.
And that's the news for now. Thanks for joining us. Have a great rest of your day.